You know that. So we start our online reading session by offering our humble prayers and lotus feet of all the acharyas, the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Vishnu, Vishnu Deva, Vikas Swami, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Vishnu, Vishnu Deva, Vedanta Swami. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Guruvani Pratavini, Nirvishesha Shunivadi, Constante Deshika. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Mukam Karati Vachana, Guruve Gaurachandra, Adhikaya Padare Krishna, I have some rituals, which is Saskia days. Turasinama. And Yota Mama, Sutam Sanjeeva Yatyakisha, Sada, Just, Shora Paradi, Prananamo Bhagavati Purushani, Chitvarvanya, Sansara. Prabhupada Sukanta Munjin, Samsa Vishwa, Vijay, Asma. So, Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our online reading session of the book, The Mode and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. We are in page number 538. Yes. Okay. By Srila Prabhupada's presenting Bhagavad Gita, quote and unquote, as it is, for the first time in the West, many people embraced its teachings by taking to Krishna consciousness. Perhaps throughout the whole world, it is the first time we are preaching Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are the only institution in the world preaching Bhagavad Gita as it is, and people are liking it. Before that, for the last 200 years, so many swamis and yogis tried to preach Hindu philosophy, Vaishnavism, but not a single person became a devotee of Krishna. Now you see so many young men. Why this difference? Because we did not present Bhagavad Gita adulterated. We present it as it is. Reference 2401. Conversation 12th April 1975. My only credit is that I have presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any speculation or interpretation. Therefore, for the first time in the history of the world, people are accepting it and living practically according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Reference 2402, letter 18 December 1975. And among scholars, Dr. Stilson Judah was one who grasped the rare authenticity of Srila Prabhupada's presentation of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is widely acknowledged as essentially a devotional theistic work. The Gita has unfortunately been commented upon almost exclusively by advocates of the non-theistic school who have obscured the deeply devotional nature of the work. So, I feel that Srila Prabhupada's translation and interpretation represent the true meaning and intention of the Gita. 2403 reference, Dr. Station Judah quoted in unquote and unquote my impressions of Srila Prabhupada. Back to Godhead, Article 4.14.8, 1979. By titling his edition as Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada aimed to counteract the quote so-called scholars, philosophers, and politicians who exploit the importance of the Bhagavad Gita by distorting its meaning for their own purposes. Reference 2404, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 4 purport. Our mission is to present Bhagavad Gita as it is without any nonsensical commentary. 2405. Reference, The Journey of Self-Discovery, Chapter 6. Although previously there were attempts to distribute the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, these attempts involved distortion and compromise with mundane knowledge. But now the Krishna consciousness movement, without mundane compromises, is distributing Bhagavad Gita as it is, and people are deriving the benefits of awakening to Krishna consciousness and becoming devotees of Lord Krishna. Therefore, the proper distribution of knowledge has begun. The Krishna consciousness movement has been set up to distribute this knowledge as it is without distortion. 2406. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 19, purport. Our Krishna consciousness movement means to preach the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as it is, not to interpret it any nonsensical way and mislead the people. We don't try to mislead the people. We give without any changes and without any cost, any loss on your part. Reference 2407, lecture 19th May 1969. A definite, not vague, speculative. That is the difference between my translation and others. Therefore, I have given the name as it is, quote and unquote. So there will be no scope for speculation. As soon as you speculate, you are rejected. Therefore, others are seeing some danger. Quote, if this Bhaktivedanta's Bhagavad Gita as it is accepted, then where are we? I have stopped it. They cannot speculate on the words of Bhagavad Gita. That is our mission. We won't allow you to speculate. You are finite, imperfect. How can you, by speculation, give the unlimited infinite? Conversation regarding the philosophy of Hegel. This Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. We are presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any mahal interpretation. 409 reference, conversation 16th October 1976. We are particularly interested in preaching Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is wrongly preached all over the world by nonsense commentation, we want to rectify it. 2410, conversation 18 January 1971. This, quote, straightforward approach to Bhagavad Gita, unquote, 2411, reference, Jayadvaita Swami, Vanity Karma, page 12. This straightforward approach to Bhagavad Gita was specifically to counteract spurious, offensive presentations, particularly those of Mayavadis. Unfortunately, mundane wranglers have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita to push forward their demonic propensities and mislead people regarding the right understanding of the simple principles of life. 2412, Bhagavad Gita preface. Unfortunately, unscrupulous and rascal so-called scholars, religionists, and philosophers have misinterpreted the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And they have misled the whole population. Bhagavad Gita is popular not only in India, but also all over the world. Unfortunately, the real idea has been distorted. We have therefore presented our Bhagavad Gita as it is. I have tried to explain in this book the real purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the authorized book to teach people how to love Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Good. There is nothing except devotional service to Lord described there. But great politicians have misinterpreted the sunshine-like clear statement of Bhagavad Gita with a cloud of mental concoctions. 2413 reference letter, 8th July 1969. Okay, here I want to just tell that devotees, if you would like to read, you can read one book called Bhakti Vedanta Purports by His Holiness Shivaram Maharaj. It's a very beautiful book explaining how Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita purports are most authentic. Prabhupada Maharaj cites in a scholarly manner. If you want, you can read that book. Again, that is called as Bhakti. The book itself, his name itself is Bhakti. Does anybody know about the book? Has heard about that book? Yes.
No, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna?
No, Prabhu.
Oh, I should read this. Again, the purport's book. Okay. Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is most misleading presentation of the whole truth. One who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavada philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. Reference to 414, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 12.4. To interpret Bhagavad Gita without any reference to the will of Krishna is the greatest offense. In order to save oneself from this offense, one has to understand the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he was directly understood by Arjuna, Lord Krishna's first disciple. Such understanding of Bhagavad Gita is really profitable and authorized for the welfare of the human society in fulfilling the mission of life. 2415 reference Bhagavad Gita preface. Undoubtedly, Bhagavad Gita as it is, stands as a challenge to all the mental speculators who depart from Gita's central teachings of devotional service, Supreme Personality. Reference 2416, Brahmananda Swami, Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, Back to Godhead article number 52, year 1973. By presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada rescued it from all the so-called scholars, politicians, philosophers, and swamis who, without perfect knowledge of Krishna, try to banish or kill Krishna when writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Wow, what a statement. Where is this? This is derived from a statement in Bhagavad Gita preface. Another great boon that Bhagavad Gita as it is bestows. We think that Bhagavad Gita as it is, without a wrong interpretation, can solve all the problems of human society, namely social, political, religious, economic, philosophical, cultural, or from any angle of vision, because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is above all deficiency, namely mistake, illusion, cheating, and imperfection of the senses. 2418, letter 6th November 1973. 2419 reference. C. Solving all societal problems. Page number 414. With great hope in the potency of Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada encouraged its study by both his disciples and the general populace. Everything is explained in the Bhagavad. Therefore, we are repeatedly asking everyone to study Bhagavad Gita as it is. Reference 2420. Lecture 6th April 1974. Bhagavad Gita is such a nice book. If you can understand one line, you advance 100 years. So meaningful and solid. Therefore, we have published this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Let your people read it. Let them question and try to understand what is this moment. Reference 2421. Conversation 30th December 1968. No wonder then that Srila Prabhupada stated, quote, this Krishna consciousness moment is especially meant for preaching Bhagavad Gita as it is. 2422 reference, lecture 17, March 1970. Okay. Okay, Shyam Swarup Prabhu, you can read.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Fundamentalism.
Okay. Fundamentalism. By dictionary definition, Srila Prabhupada was a fundamentalist. Quote, someone who believes in traditional forms of a religion or believes that what is written in a holy book, such as the Christian Bible, is completely true. Unquote. Reference 2423, Cambridge Dictionary. Being convinced that, quote, Vaishnava philosophy is very perfect philosophy, unquote. 2424 reference. Lecture 9 April 1974. Quote unquote flawless philosophy. Reference 2425. Letter 27 November 1971. Srila Prabhupada could confidently declare, quote, nobody in the whole world can defeat our philosophy, end quote. 2426 Conversation 23rd Jan 1977. And specifically, quote, no one can defeat me, unquote. Reference 2427, letter 16 June 1972. Srila Prabhupada's certitude was due to his direct realization of God. See Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 2, and backed by scriptural statements such as Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 2, and chapter 15, text 19. Although such conviction was a major factor in his preaching success, and particularly bolstered with faith of his disciples, it was adjudged by some outsiders, especially in the West, to be dogmatism, a charge that Srila Prabhupada had addressed even before journeying west. Quote, the Vedic knowledge is never dogmatic, as ill-conceived by less intelligent persons. End quote. Reference 2428. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 18, purport. See this purport for the reasoning to support this assertion. At the end of a lecture in Mauritius, a Western guest expressed an unusual doubt to Srila Prabhupada. Reference 2429, lecture 5th August 1975. He seemed to think that Srila Prabhupada's presentation was too clear, as if that was somehow a defect. He said, quote, Sir, I have listened to your talk with very great interest. You are very clear and very lucid, but you are also very dogmatic, I feel. Is there any area of doubt in your own philosophy, or are you quite certain in every field? Unquote. Srila Prabhupada, sounding somewhat challenging, what is that dogmatic? Guest. When you have a question put to you, you are very clear what the answer shall be. Laughter from devotees. From the tone of the guest's voice, it appears that he takes Prabhupada's self-confidence to be a defect. Have you any doubts yourself that have not appeared to us? Srila Prabhupada's mood changes to a relaxed one. Previous to this, he had a lengthy harangue with Indian guests who tried to
Harangue.
impose their
It is called
nonsense. Harangue,
Prabhu harangue. It is called as
harangue.
harangue.
A lengthy
Lengthy
and
and
aggressive
aggressive
speech.
speech.
Okay. Previous to this, he had a lengthy harangue with Indian guests who tried to impose their nonsense ideas on him. He deals with this challenge differently by first changing the subject. Srila Prabhupada. So you answer. You are American? Guest. I am Scottish. Srila Prabhupada. In Scotland, we have got our temple also. Edinburgh. Guest. But you seem very, your philosophy seems very clear cut. Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Laughs. Srila Prabhupada brilliantly turns the implied criticism into a compliment, but the guest persists. Guest, are you satisfied with that? That there is no area of doubt? Srila Prabhupada continues to accept the guest's criticism as a compliment and ignores the question. Srila Prabhupada, therefore, it is appealing more to the Western countries. Mostly, it is very acceptable in the Western countries. Guest, giving up his persistence, says thank you. The clarity that Srila Prabhupada brought to spiritual understanding much appealed to his disciples, yet tended to arouse suspicion among his most prized audience, Western intellectuals, as evidenced in the aforementioned exchange. To them, religious certainty meant dogmatism or worse, fundamentalism, which they disparaged as bigoted, intolerant, opposed to the Western liberal ethos, anti science, and at the root of murderous jihads and crusades. Even sympathetic scholars were disquieted by the devotees' quote, alternative fundamentalism, unquote. Reference 2430, cited by Shivarama Swami, the Bhaktivedanta Purports Introduction.
You see here, very nice book. Maharaj is quoting from that book even. Yes.
Reference 2431. This phrase was used in relation to devotees by Denis Levertov, a left-wing religious mystic poet, one of whose many books was in praise of Krishna, songs from the Bengali, in collaboration with Edward C. Dimmock, Jr. In her note of appreciation in the 1968 edition of Bhagavad Gita as it is, she wrote, quote, talking to a young devotee, I was somewhat appalled by his fundamentalism. Unquote. And the highly favorable Dr. Judah wrote, the Hare Krishna movement adheres to a literalistic interpretation of its scriptures and emphasizes the importance of religious experience. Whenever possible, they seek scriptural support to validate their alternative ways of life. Reference 2432, Dr. Stilson Judah, Hare Krishna and the Counterculture, page 146. Liberal churches are interested in dialogue with others of differing views in the spirit of ecumenism and with the hope of deepening their own understanding. The devotees are not only disinterested in listening to other viewpoints, but are also dogmatic about their beliefs. They see their view as being the whole, entire truth. That which varies from their view on any single point falls short of the truth. Reference 2433. I bit same. The liberal churches are reasonable and receptive to outside criticism. This is not true of the Hare Krishna movement. Although the devotees of Krishna are courteously silent when ridiculed publicly, in their temples they never leave unchallenged any variant to their views, nor are they interested in what scholars might contribute through literary or historical criticism. Reference 2434, same IBIT, page 145. Allen Ginsberg, a famed champion of unconventionality, his quote, fiery rants about sex, conformity, freedom, authority, and more were nothing less than a direct assault on the status quo. Unquote. Reference 2435. Jeff Tamarkin, quote, 17 must reads for every hippie's bookshelf. Best classic bands, link. Was highly appreciative of devotees, but he seemed to find Srila Prabhupada's religious orthodoxy incongruous. Speaking at a program with Srila Prabhupada at Ohio State University, he referred to, quote, the importation of a very strange Oriental form, almost a hard shelled Baptist Oriental form, in the sense of its traditionality and its fundamentalism, its reliance on ancient texts and interpretation of ancient texts by a long tradition of teachers. And quote reference 2436. Lecture 12 May 1969. In reference to 437. See other quotes from Ginsburg that demonstrate his perplexity regarding Srila Prabhupada's agenda. And page reference.
And page, where is it? Okay, Bob, continue.
Yeah. A book review noted the quote Hindu fundamentalism that has come to be associated with the Krishna consciousness movement. Unquote. Reference 2438. L. Stafford Betty in Veda Days. Another put it bluntly, quote, when it comes to Hindu scripture, the Hare Krishnas are unabashed fundamentalists. Unquote. Reference 2439. Conversation 6th July 1977. This impression was no doubt compounded by Srila Prabhupada's felicity in describing non-devotees as demons, cats and dogs, and similar unflattering terms. Even a scholarly insider, Ravindra Swarupadasa, noted the different impression ISKCON made compared to more genteel forms of Indian spirituality. With all the exotic trappings of quote, a traditional Hindu ritual structure, unquote, ISKCON appears to many to be heavily freighted with culturally conditioned forms and hence to exemplify sectarianism with a vengeance. It stands It stands in contrast to Advaita Vedanta, that earlier Indian export, whose philosophical abstractions and non-devotional orientation make it appear universal, non-sectarian, and free from adventitious cultural and historical accretions. Reference 2440. Ravindra Swarupadasa, Religion and Religions, ISKCON Communications Journal, Article 1.1, Jan 1993. Inevitably, Srila Prabhupada's disciples also had to face hostility for their seeming dogmatism. Addressing the complaint that devotees think they know everything, Srila Prabhupada responded that they should indeed know everything and that by deep Shastric study they had to actually be on that level. Satswarupa. Some people say they don't like to talk to Hare Krishna people because we are like that. We always say we know everything about everything. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we know everything. That's a fact. Satsurupa. They resent it and they say, quote, oh, you people, we can't talk with you, unquote. Srila Prabhupada. You may resent, but we know everything. That is a fact. Chuckles. Satsurupa. So, how do we deal with that attitude if they are turned away by our Srila Prabhupada? No, no, he's a rascal. We know everything and he denies. Then what is the use of talking with him and waste your time? Satsarupa, we can't compromise and just say that we don't know. Srila Prabhupada, no, no, you know everything. How can you say, I don't know? Loves. You must be a man of knowledge. Otherwise, you cannot say. You cannot falsely say that, quote, yes, I know, unquote. You must know. Then you say. But if you think that you do not know, don't say foolishly like that. Then you will be slapped. You must you must know also. So how do you know? The next question will be, quote, how do you know everything? Unquote. Satswarupa. It is not that I am great, but it's the authority of my spiritual master and the Shastras. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Or Krishna. Krishna is great. So I am talking of what Krishna has said. Therefore, I am great. I know everything. Not that I know everything. I do not know anything, but I am surrendered to a person who knows everything. Therefore, I know everything. I take my knowledge from him. So you should think how much knowledge you have assimilated. The knowledge is there. Guru is there. Krishna is there. So we have to take advantage of Guru and Krishna. Sadharma Pricha. Ask him and become a man of knowledge. Then you can say, if you simply think that, quote, I have my Guru and there is Krishna, now I am perfect, unquote, no. You should ask and know. You must be a man of knowledge. Then you can say, quote, yes, I know everything, unquote. This Sanskrit word Diksha means Divya Jnanam Khyapayati, to ask the spiritual master about transcendental knowledge with service and surrender. The more you ask, you become a man of knowledge. Then you can challenge, quote, yes, I know everything, in quote. Actually, you know everything. Just like when I speak, I immediately ask reference from Bhagavad Gita and we stop the man's argument. So if you become well versed with the whole Bhagavad Gita, then you have full knowledge. There is no need of saying that, quote, I do not know, unquote. You will become a man of full knowledge, but you must study. Reference 2441, Conversation 11 June 1974, and reference 2442. See also conservative and liberal, strict and lenient.
Page 661, 661.
Okay, fine.
Sorry. Wait. Yeah. Yes. Page 6, page 660. Okay, no.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Brahmananda Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Pranam. Pranam. And enthusiasm and determination. These two qualities, the first among the six essential for the attainment of pure devotional service, reference 2443, the Nectar of Instruction, text 3. So, palpably pervaded Srila Prabhupada's whole personality and everything he did and said, that practically all that is written in this book attests to them. His enthusiasm worked like magic, and it inspired his disciples. Trivikrama Swami recalled, that was Srila Prabhupada's magic. He was so enthusiastic, it was not something false. He once told us that this whole movement was sprayed with enthusiasm. And of course, it was his enthusiasm. He was so happy to spread Krishna consciousness around the world, and from our side, we were pleased to assist him. Reference 2444. Trivikrama Swami, Priceless Moments with a Pure Devotee, page 80.
Krishna?
Next page. Hmm. Despite having lived through the turmoil of the Gauriya Math infighting, Srila Prabhupada never became disheartened or lost his drive to preach. Avoiding the blame game of dwelling on the faults of others, he sought to find how he could best serve his Guru Maharaj's mission, with or without the help of his god brothers. Once, when he was commenting on the word enthusiasm, Utshaha, as it is used in Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, Srila Prabhupada gave himself as an example, quote, "How could I have come to America at such an old age unless I was enthusiastic?" Unquote. Reference 2445. Reference Satswarup Das Goswami, Vyas Puja offering 1998. On another occasion, a New York Times journalist put to Srila Prabhupada a pertinent query, quote, "Can you really expect to change the world, whole society? Many people have tried to change the world, but we see that they have failed. Many people have tried to see God, but they do not succeed." Unquote. In reply, Srila Prabhupada alluded to the kind of determination needed to attain God and transform the world. Quote, "That is because their purpose is not strong." Unquote. Reference 2446. Conversation to September 1972. Thinking big, shooting rhinos. Quote, "Thinking big," unquote, was ingrained in Srila Prabhupada's personality, as repeatedly he did the seemingly impossible, turning his vision into reality. Quote, "Throughout my life," unquote, he declared, quote, "I have never thought any small things. I am always thinking in this way. Big plans on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Unquote. Reference 2447. 2447. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Later, unknown place and date. And indeed, his thinking big distinguished Srila Prabhupada from others and was a major factor in his success. His plans for expansion were daring and unpredictable, except for the fact that they always seemed to succeed gloriously. He was 70ish and a stranger to America, and he had arrived with practically nothing. Yet within a few months he single-handedly started a movement. It was mind-boggling. Reference 2448. Mukunda Goswami forward to the science of self-realization. His one disease, Srila Prabhupada would say, was that he could not think small. Reference 2449. Sometimes cited as his one problem. He sent his disciple for rhinoceros shooting, meaning to attempt something formidable. We should always be enthusiastic to try for shooting the rhinoceros. That way, if we fail, everybody will say, "Never mind, nobody can shoot a rhinoceros anyway." And if we succeed, then everyone will say, just see what a wonderful thing they have done. Reference 2450. Later, 22nd December 1971. Prabhupada is happiest when he is spreading Krishna consciousness in the biggest way possible. Reference 2451. Sat Shyamsundar Das, Chasing Rhinos with the Swami, Volume 2, page 157. Thus postulated Shyamsundar Das, one disciple who became particularly energized by Srila Prabhupada's call to think and do big, who always tried to shoot for the rhinoceros, America style. One time a devotee criticized Shyamsundar's plans are rather utopian. Srila Prabhupada replied, maybe utopian, but if we do something utopian for Krishna, that's also good. Reference 2452. Much of this paragraph up to here is from Satsvarup Das Goswami Prabhupada Meditations 1.5.3. Prabhu, can you explain the meaning of utopian?
Okay. Where is it? Okay, here. It is you can read here. Modeled on or aiming for a state in which everything is perfect, idealistic. Utopian means expecting that everything will be ideal.
Okay.
Srila Prabhupada plans are rather utopian. See, this is called as one time a devotee criticized. So criticism goes like that. Utopian means everything, he is thinking that everything is utopian. No. Okay, like that.
Okay. Okay. Means best quality.
No, expecting that it will be best quality, best. Everything will be good, everything will be systematic, everything will be according to what is planned, everything like that. So you can't expect utopian.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some observations from Shamsundar Das as recorded in his memoir Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. The Swami had a flair for the spectacular, the hugely scaled, challenging the limits of what could be done. And we loved him for this big. Big, yes, let's do it. 2453. Reference 2453. Sam Sundar Das, Chasing Rhinos with the Swami, Volume 1, page 127. I just like to please the Swami, tell him big things that might or might not come true, almost daring myself and Krishna to do the impossible and make them happen. Reference 2454. Previous reference, same reference, page 368.
That means we change the diagnosis, uh, the Swami, that particular.
Yes. The Swami was himself a consummate rhino hunter, chasing quixotic dreams and making them happen. The ultimate rhino being the attempt to introduce Krishna consciousness to the dis- dis- decadent West. Thinking big was required if Lord Chaitanya's prediction of worldwide Sankirtan was to be fulfilled. When arriving at Boston Harbor, Srila Prabhupada, contemplating the enormity of the task, no,
Oh,
previous page, previous page, yes, fulfill enormity of the task ahead, Oh no, previous page. Yes. Pray to Krishna. Shakalai sambhava hoy tumi she kautuki. You can make everything possible because you are the greatest mystic. Reference 2455. Markine Bhagavad Dharma verse 4 in Songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas. Even before voyaging to America, Srila Prabhupada had huge plans that to others might have seemed to be the wishful thinking of a Bani, but nape sadhu. In 1953, although alone, unknown, and indigent, he registered the League of Devotees to train preachers and missionary workers for preaching the pure cult of the Bhagavad Gita not only in India but also throughout the whole world. Reference 2456. Letter 26 August 1958. Hmm. In a 1965 mail out, he solicited donations for posting a total of 76,500 copies of Back to Godhead, listing 53 countries with the number to be sent to each. Reference 2457. See letter quoted on. And in 1966, he registered the next page. International Society for Krishna Consciousness, with the few largely uncommitted souls gathered around him. He printed on his business card, quote, branches throughout the world, unquote. Some of the rhinos that Srila Prabhupada successfully hunted. Phenomenal book distribution, magnificent temples, gala festivals, and mass prasada distribution. He wanted to turn San Francisco into New Jagannath Puri and West Virginia into New Vrindavan. Reference 2458. Letter 14 June 1968. Seeing the potential for Krishna consciousness to soon become the prominent worldview, Srila Prabhupada envisaged that by book publication, whole nations could become Krishna conscious. Reference 2459. Letter 21st December 1974. And that nuclear war could be averted. Reference 2460. Rameshwar Das in Prabhupada Memoir, Volume 56. He predicted that millions will join our farms. Reference 2461. Rameshwara Das in Prabhupada Memories, Volume 50. That Krishna consciousness could reunite India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Burma, and Sri Lanka. Reference 2462. Conversation 19 April 1977. And that there could be millions of bullock carts for preaching all over the world. Reference 2463, letter 16 March 1977. He wanted to drive agnosticism out of the world. Reference 2464. Tamala Krishna Goswami, TKG's Diary, 28 July 1977. Through directives such as make America Krishna conscious first and then the rest of the world will follow. Reference 2465. See Mission America. Srila Prabhupada electrified his followers as he continuously pushed them beyond the limits of possibility, instilling in them the confidence that Krishna can do anything. Reference 2466, Lecture 24 July 1973. In one famous episode, Srila Prabhupada forced his disciple to prove that impossible is a word in a full dictionary. Reference 2467. Conversation 27 June 1975. At one stage, Prabhupada's translations were so far ahead of the book publishing that he threatened his disciple that he would stop translating any more unless they caught up within 2 months. 17 volumes. The disciples tried to explain how it was impossible to edit, typeset, proofread, layout, shoot, and produce paintings for a large hardbound book every 3 days for 8 straight weeks, when most were at the manuscript stage and some even prior to that, and each book with Bengali or Sanskrit text. Prabhupada insisted impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. For 2 months, dozens of devotees worked day and night, practically without eating or sleeping. Work was going on around the clock in all departments, and the devotees were determined to meet their deadlines. Most praised workers attended Mangalarti at 4:30 a.m., chanted their prescribed rounds of japa, and worked all day until late at night, sometimes taking only one meal. Additional editors, painters, photographers, indexers, typists, proofreaders, and layout men had been called in from other ISKCON departments. Everyone was cooperating to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire. It was as though nothing else existed except the task before them. Kingsport Press, one of the largest printers in the country, had taken the job of printing, agreeing to push back all other assignments to free their presses and bindery for work 24 hours a day until all 17 volumes were printed. The BBT's top photographer was in India, photographing places of Chaitanya Lila, especially in Bengal and Odisha. 17 books in 2 months he had asked them to produce, and they, rather than try to explain to him why this was impossible, had taken the order so seriously that they could not conceive of rejecting, changing, or modifying it. Instead of modifying the order, they had modified their lives. They had gone beyond the realm of routine work into the realm of extraordinary effort. Ultimately, empowered by Srila Prabhupada, they achieved the impossible. Reference 2468. Adapted from Sachuruk Das Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, chapter 45. Please distribute books. Chapter 47. Same reference, chapter 47, Preaching to America, part 2, and Janananda Das Prabhupada in Malaysia. In January 1977, Rameshwar Swami told Srila Prabhupada that the 1.5 million print run of Bhagavad Gita as it is was the largest printing of one title by any publisher in the history of the Western United States. The printer said that to fulfill the order, his press would have to run non-stop for 20 days and nights without any other business. The printing company was so proud that they offered to hold a major press conference to announce to the press and all the journals of printers about this order from the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. Reference 2469. Conversation 9 January 1977. While some called him unrealistic, reference 2470, see the paragraph beginning in 1976 at a meeting organized at a Gaudiya Mutt. Srila Prabhupada, determined to prove that nothing is impossible for Krishna, hatched one plan after another to change the world. We have got so many things in stock. First of all, I started the book production by Krishna's grace. It is becoming successful. Then dioramas. Then I shall give the next idea. Reference 2471, Conversation for June 1976. I have got so many ideas. Reference 2472. Conversation 22 August 1976. Tejas Das recalled, I can list the dozens, hundreds of things Srila Prabhupada asked of me. One of them was to systematically book in sequence all the large halls in Delhi and to invite the intelligentsia and give powerful lectures. Another was to have continuous weekend community pandal programs back to back with our own tent, equipment and stage, dismantling on Monday and set up by Thursday. Another to bring the entire government together and to have Mrs. Gandhi garland Srila Prabhupada in a joint session of parliament as India's official cultural ambassador. Then there was the Jaipur temple project, the Varnashram college and the Delhi Krishna Balaram Jayanti Park. Reference 2473. Tejas Das personal correspondence with Bhakti Vikas Swami. One of the last plans of Srila Prabhupada mentioned that that is our next step, how to make one civilization Krishna conscious. 2474. Conversation 25th May 1977. See also taking over the world.
One second, Prabhu. This particular topic will take a little bit time. Maybe we can start tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
It's already 8:17. So if devotees have something to say or ask, they may do so. Otherwise, we'll stop the session here. Hare Krishna. Mataji's, Prabhuji's, if they want to say something or ask.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Okay.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, tell me.
Yes, Prabhuji, that we read Srila Prabhupada's planning was to make America Krishna conscious,
Okay.
and that is the way to stop the nuclear war. Yes. Now Donald Trump's mission is to make America great again, and our mission should be to make America Krishna conscious.
We can write make C. Make America Krishna conscious. They will write mega, will write make C. Make C. Something like that. Yeah, make America Krishna conscious first and the rest of the world will follow. Actually, here we should write Mecca. Yeah, United States is always a dream world. So somebody, yeah, yesterday I was speaking to one of our devotees who was preaching in, where we were there. Sorry, that.
Yes, because
Yeah, relatively. Okay, yesterday I was speaking to one devotee from China. So he spoke to me over WhatsApp because I'm VPN. So he spoke to me, one of our brothers who is preaching in China. So he is there under Is like Mataji is from China, so he's there under Mataji, so he can't work. So he's on dependent visa in US or in China. So it is very difficult nowadays. So we have to wait until the government gets collapsed. Like, yeah, it will happen. I was just thinking about this and just thought of Iran. Iran was Islamic regime and it got collapsed and it is changing to Christianity. And once Christianity comes, modernity comes very easily. So slowly, when modernity comes, people freedom of speech will be there, and secularism enters. That's all. We can devotees can enter even Iran. So
Yeah.
we can distribute books in Iranian language. And once this communistic government collapses in China, then
Yes.
we can do something. It will take time because it is long holding.
Yes.
It's like that. Difficult.
So what is the condition in Russia, bro?
Russia, I heard, like, Indians are welcome. They can come and preach. They can come, not preach. Indians, they can get visa, but uh, we have to wait and see. But Indians can get visa. If it is from United States, they don't allow. United States people, they don't allow, it seems. But somehow, uh, China is allowing Russians and Ukrainians to stay. They come as a because there is war in Russia and Ukraine. There are devotees staying in Russia, in China, and distributing books and preaching. They are doing something little bit over there. But in Russia, the situation is for sannyasis and big people. It is little bit becoming troublesome because some Ritvik are directly complaining about those sannyasis who are coming. It's like it happened with Yajnaddha Maharaj, it happened with Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So they were
In China?
not in China, in Russia.
In Russia? Oh, yes. Mm.
So that's why in China, we have to wait and see until there is some situation in such a way that we can preach out there.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhujis, Mataji's, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We will stop here. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhibhyo cha. पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जगद्गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जगन्नाथ भक्ति प्रसाद महाराज की जय। द मूल मिशन श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.